Okay guys, in the very beginning of the video, so there's no confusion whatsoever, I want to say I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I don't think this is really an issue, and I would implore you guys to listen through as much of the video as possible to hear my genuine thoughts on the subject matter, because a lot of people kind of skip the intro portions or whatever videos, and that's fine, that's common. But a lot of times I'm not just rambling, I'm explaining things, I'm giving you guys information that you may think you know, but it's about my video or whatever, so if you can, listen through it. Anyways, as it pertains to today's video, the topic is the anti-rising rush mechanic that TN has a problem? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about it. I'm going to talk about everything that kind of comes to mind about this topic. Now, speaking of people skipping the intro, I did a video the other day where I showcased TN and I talked about this mechanic, and a lot of people were commenting, I don't see it anywhere in the video. Like, how do you do it? Like, where is it at? Like, and I literally explained that it's not a part of the kit. And they pulled it, right? They're gonna add it back later. So I really want to get this across, okay? Tien has an entire part of his kit that is missing. For the record, Tien in and of himself is actually a really good character. Just as he is, I like him a lot. He has a lot of stuff built in, the Vanish Restoration. So this is a crazy good green card. Holy crap, this is a good green card. Everything in here is good. Nothing in here is bad or worthless. Very good. And then same thing here. They even gave him blast armor. Card cost goes down. He's a menace, dude. He has support stuff here that and the crit stuff here. He has some support stuff that I didn't necessarily think he really needed to have. But like, this is really good stuff. Tien is just good. Like, seriously, he's completely worth owning. And he doesn't have, to the same extent anyway, the same issue that Buhan does with the stats and stuff. I think they're fine on Tien. But I want to show you this, okay? Buhan, by the way, is good. It's just he really has those free stats, and it just really hurts him as a damage dealer in the way he wants to play. So, yeah, like I said, Tien has this whole thing that's literally not a part of his kit. I want to show it to you. So, regarding Tien's unique ability, Critical Suppressive Fire, due to issues discovered just prior to release, the following planned effects have been removed temporarily. And it says this is the passive that was removed from him. While this character is on standby and there are 3 enemy battle members remaining, stops an enemy's rising rush and activates a support action if you lose the wager. Activates once. Deals major impact damage with support action activates. Also, it says the damage can't, cause the enemy to be defeated. And they go on to say that they're going to be adding it in later. Because of this, the offer period for the limit break boosters will be longer than usual. Okay, I didn't know when the version update would be, because those could be a month from now, it could be a couple weeks from now. But since they have a date range on the booster sales for Tien, then I would imagine that it happens sometime really soon. Anyways, so this is an entire part. I talked about how he's good. This is an entire very valuable passive. This is the first of its kind, and I want to kind of also in a minute talk about what this could mean for future releases of characters. Like, how like they always, every time they introduce something, it starts off somewhere and it winds up everywhere. Once upon a time, anti-endurance was only on one character, and it just obviously spread across. These things spread as the game gets longer in the tooth. So there are some stipulations when he's on standby specifically, like he can't be the one getting rising rushed. Also, there have to be 3 enemy battle members remaining. So if they have 1 or 2 characters, this is not going to activate. It has to be 3, which, there's one really specific scenario that this happens in. I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then he stops the rising rush and it activates a wager. And then also it says if you lose the wager, you get support and activates the action if you lose the wager. Okay. And he also does damage, basically. So there's win-lose. I assume that's going to be just like before with the regular Rising Rush as well. Some people commented that in the previous video. And let me know. So this is a big deal because one of the things I hate the most in this game is, and if you watch my videos, you hear me say this all the time, is when the enemy, or even you as a player, gets the it's dirty either way, is when one of you guys gets the rising rush in the first 45 seconds real time. And I don't mean like 45 counts in the game, because that could be a couple minutes depending on what's happening, really. I mean, I've been sitting in my chair playing this game and this match for 45 seconds of my real time. You know what I'm saying? That is incredibly fast. What that is that's one combo. Right? That's one combo, maybe a combo and a half. It's because you got an early priority and you're already rising rushing. And the thing about that is that's a huge swing. You get to, ideally, if you land it anyway, eliminate the opponent's character, which has a whole slew of effects. It's a chain reaction. You take off their third character, they can no longer switch there. They can no longer get that extra third vanish. They can't get the entirety of that character's kit, however good or bad it might have been. They can't do anything there, and they're at a huge disadvantage. And everything in that situation, in a 3v2 and a 1v2 or a 1v3, everything works against you in that scenario. That's why those comebacks are very nice to see. The counts on the game, everything works against you. So it is what it is. And if you get that in the very beginning, there's got to be a statistic. There isn't one, literally, but I feel like if that happens for or against me, whoever does that early in the game wins at least 75% of the matches, because it's a huge deal, right? And unless you can rebound and rush back quickly, they're already building towards their second, in which most cases they're going to use it, right? So that's one of the main scenarios where this is going to be this is going to help with something that's already a problem. Obviously, otherwise, like later in the game, it doesn't have to be the first 60 seconds of the counts or whatever. Anytime later in the game where they have 3 battle members still. So in and of itself, though, stopping a rising rush is very valuable. There's not very many things in the game that can actually do this, right? It's always, rising rush is so powerful, it's always excluded from cover changes or barriers, and a lot of cover changes just can't even interact with it whatsoever outside of cover rescue, and that's it. So yeah, cover rescue and whatever variant of that Bojack has. Oh no, Bojack doesn't interact with it, does it? It's everything but rising rush. Anyways, so yeah, it's very uncommon to interact with Rising Rush in any way or shape or form. So I think that this is good. I really hate that, so I'm obviously biased. I think it's good. But I also want to kind of speak to the subsect of players, because this is going to be the case. Obviously not everybody's going to agree with me on this, but it's going to be the case where, like, there are players that are going to push higher in PvP then their stars would probably dictate, because they're good players or whatever the case is. They don't spend a lot of money. Maybe they don't spend anything on the game really, and they're pushing high in PvP, and they may rely on this. They may rely on not just the Rising Rush, because I think most people would rely on the Rising Rush regardless, because it's a big deal. But they may rely on the early Rising Rush, right? So Tien is an interesting character. Now, the thing about that is right now it's exclusive to Tien. It puts an importance on Tien as a character. I think Tien, though, here's the deal. It's not like Tien has a bad kit, because he doesn't. I think Tien's actually a good enough character to be ran on teams. Now, his Z abilities are bad, but, well, not bad, but, you know, he's not going to slide into your Saiyan team. But the fix for that is the leader slot. He's just a leader slot character. It is what it is. Now, is that more valuable than putting your androids in your leader slot or X other Z tier character, right? You know, you could make that argument for yourself. Argument probably, it just depends on how things shake out, but maybe not, right? So it is what it is. So that's kind of where the dilemma is. Also, are you using him over Ultra Super Gogeta? Like, there are issues here with Tien and his color and just how he would be handled in the game, at least currently. But I do think the thing about this is right now, like I said, it puts an increased importance on Tien. There's two ways this could go. They could either say this will be pretty much exclusive to Tien, which is not something they do very often. They could say it's exclusive to him because of the nature of him and stuff like that, because he is a little bit of a helper, a savior type of character, and that's just kind of the way Tien has kind of been designed throughout the latter portion of DBZ, and I'm talking in the actual, you know, media, not the game. Anyways, that is one way they could just, you know, leave it exclusive to him, but it is something that I do think we'll see other forms. I'm curious to see how they decide on like the second iteration of something like this. It could be in 6 months, a year, who knows. The second iteration of this could be, oh, if this happens, maybe you have one, you know, if you have one character and he's your last man standing and they Rising Rush you regardless of how many battle numbers they have, you just cancel it, right? Like, there could be other situations where it's maybe not as troubling and it's a little better. I mean, but what I will tell you, I'm going to kind of conclude on this, is what I will tell you is they're really experimenting lately, aren't they? Like, seriously, they're really experimenting lately. You got this guy with his mechanic. You've got Boo, which, for the record, Boo's an interesting character because he has the anti-tag, but there's only a few tags in the game anyway. The good news is you see one of them in every freaking match. My goodness. But anyways, it's a good mechanic, but it's an experiment. That's the first character of its kind. You have another first of its kind here with Tien having this, because again, it's very different. And the fact that it does damage too is crazy. Speaking of damage, first of its kind with Tapion. Another situation where they're experimenting. Speaking of experimenting, you go to UI Goku, first of its kind, with not the dodges, because that wasn't really the case because there was another one prior, but the dodge in the counter. that's the first character like that. And then also, you know, the freaking Dokubaki auto win, that cost me an entire game in a video recently. We went down to 1 second in my 2x Zenkai Buhan showcase. Check that video out. That video had some crazy matches. Check it out. I guarantee you, you'll be impressed with that match with the UI Goku. That completely, oh my God. We both used the Rising Rush with 1 second left, and he auto won, and then he won the match. that mechanic is broken, dude. Anyways, so yeah, that, and then you have other fun stuff like the Ultra Gauge and how that works on Vegito and prior characters. But the point is, it feels like they've been experimenting a lot lately, kind of throwing things at the wall with these characters. I don't know if that's going to continue to be a trend. I'd imagine for Legends Festival in a few months. Wow, we're already there, huh? In a few months. I'd imagine that there's going to be another new mechanic like last year when the tag came out. But this is interesting to see. So let me know what you guys think. Again, no, I don't think Tien's mechanic is a big deal. I don't think it's bad. Part of me, you know what it is? Part of me feels like Tien, even though I know he's really good, he's going to be a character that, because of the issues that I rose, like with the leader slide and you want to run a better character, blah, blah, he's going to be a character you just don't see. Because he's niche in and of himself as a character. Like, not everybody likes Tien. I kind of feel like that's going to be the case. So I really kind of feel like it's easy. It's not even in the game, but say it was in the game, I feel like we would probably be overreacting right now. And then in a few, or like over-exaggerating how good it is. And then in a few weeks, you maybe just don't see it anymore. I kind of feel like that might be the case. But I thought it was still worth discussing because he does have the possibility to go the other way, where he is a character that's in most matches because of the power of that mechanic. But I kind of feel like it might just be because it's so restricted, it might just be a watered down version. Well, not watered down, but a better version of, like, can you say better? Because they function differently, but like Cover Rescue in terms of just the Rising Rush only, because Cover Rescue can be used on anything. So it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about Tien. Again, that mechanic is probably coming in the next few weeks. So when that happens, we'll obviously deep dive into it, do a few videos, and kind of talk about it there. Have an awesome day, guys.